Okay guys, so we are back with round number 4. This is top table after 3 rounds, both players are 3-0. I am actually the Vayu player in this match at the top versus Blackwings, which we saw last round as well, and I win the die roll there. So I'll be going first. I start with Card Trooper and this mills absolutely terribly. You can kind of see it in one of the frames before, but I'm actually holding a hamster and a Ryko. So I've now milled both my Rykos and one in hand, meaning my hamsters are just going to be dead for the rest of the game. I knew I was coming up against Blackwings, so I wanted to be quite aggressive, as it's quite an aggressive Blackwing deck. But this is just already off the mark, not particularly good for me. Blackwing player starting out, as they all do, with Whirlwind into Shura as well. Decides to take Bora here. Interesting choice. I think that's probably the typical pickup versus Vayu, just to make sure you can out the kind of Rykos and still get some damage off. But after seeing 2 go to Grave, I'm not sure that's what I'd be picking up here. Attacks into Card Trooper, so dealing damage and getting a summon, probably a Vayu. And I'm picking up a card for Card Trooper there. Yeah, brings out the Vayu here. Two sets as well, obviously incredibly worrying against Blackwings, especially when they've got a Vayu out. So I'm going to go straight into Storm and not reading Starlight Road. So this road is really going to hurt. I feel like Blackwings aren't normally main decking road now, which is probably why I went for that. But yeah, could have been an easier read on my part. I'm going to brain control the Stardust here. I think you can see a DDV in my hand there as well. So we're going to attack into the Vayu. Trying to play around Kalut. And then we're tributing for Caius to try and get rid of the Shura. There's probably some logic to say to do this the other way around, to actually play into the Kalut and then try and banish the Vayu just so they don't have a Vayu for later. But I think from my perspective it's, try and play around the most things, so try and play around the Kalut and also the Blizzard later. We know they've got Bora, but we can make sure that Blizzard isn't live straight away. Same one and pass in here. I'm pretty sure it's the DDV. So Bora coming out and going for Whirlwind. I don't know if I remember what's taken here. It doesn't look like we saw it, but I'm thinking it was probably a Kalut or a Blizzard. So smashing around on the Caius is going to force me to use DDV. There's the Blizzard. Looks like it was the Blizzard that he took there. I'm getting him for 17. I think you can see a return, Rotor, Hamster and a Ryko in my hand there. Obviously the hamster is pretty dead right now. Still an 1800 body, but not getting me very far in terms of advancing the game state. So I'm just going to set the Ryko here. Pass it over. Yeah, I haven't got any banished yet either, so my return is really not doing anything right now. Get sure access here. I've taken out the game chat, but my opponent's just suggesting there this is probably a Riker, and he's going to very quickly learn that he's right. So I'm going to hit the Shura there. I'm going to mill a Vayu and 2 traps. Boar is then going to get in for 17. Another set from the Blackwing player as well. Gonna try and get back into the game with the Rotor. I think we pick up Armageddon Knight here. Can play the Armor Knight, dump the Sirocco. This gives you an armed wing play now, but it doesn't feel great into Blackwings with Sirocco being such a threat. So I'm going to try and get in and eat a D prison there. Send 2 cards and passing over. So I remember one of them at least is return. I think the other one is a D prison or a bottomless of my own. Blizzard was picked up off a Whirlwind. Can activate Blizzard now and bring back the Shura. Just confirming life points now. My opponent's making a level 6, going into Armed Wing. And yeah, can eat a bottomless. Again, we're just confirming life here. So I'm going to use return now. I think there's a bit of confusion on my side here. I'm not the best or most experienced Vayu player. So we quickly correct the armed wing take there. Sirocco effect to pump the Vayu now. And then we're going straight into a Mirror Force. It's actually not the worst position for me now, because it's going to give me an armed wing play in main phase 2. But with my life this low, and with Sirocco being such a threat, it's not looking good for me here. Setting 1 as I've not normal summoned this turn. And passing, that's the hamster, I believe. My opponent's checked life a couple of times as well, so I'm pretty confident they've got a Kaloot somewhere. My opponent again is checking life here, so I'm very confident there's a Kaloot in hand. Attacking into the set, which is of course the last hamster. And that Kaloot is enough for game after return. So I'm going to lose game 1 and we're going to go on to game 2 now. So I'm going first again in game 2. And we're going to try and mill a bit better off Guard Trooper this time. So I can't quite see what those were, apologies for the glare. I think one of one of them is obviously Sirocco, and then I think the other two were an Armonite and a Greffa. Passing over now, and I'm using Trap Dust Shoot immediately. So we're seeing 2 Whirlwind, Cross Out, Double Colute and Borer. I think the Borer choice is pretty obvious just to limit options, but my opponent drawing 2 Whirlwinds this game as well after drawing it in the last game is pretty intimidating. So it's going to start with the Black Whirlwind here, and then go into Colute and Search. I think there's definitely some consideration here just around what it is you do if you double Whirlwind, or if you're really conscious about playing around the one-off Heavy Storm. Vayu Turbo is obviously in games 2 and 3 really trying to put the pressure on with DDV. We saw how impactful it was in the first game. I think I'd be trying to get all the little guys out of the deck early, get them used on the field, in the game, in rotation, in the graveyard, before a DDV comes down. But in this case, the Blackwing player chooses to play 1. So going over the Card Trooper now, give me an extra draw, passing over, so it's my turn now. You can see a D Prison in hand, I think that was. Vayu in hand as well. So this is an Armageddon Knight, again, apologies for the glare. Gonna dump the Vayu. It looks like there's heavy in the hand as well. And return again. So it looks like double Whirlwind would have been punished pretty quickly. Vayu effect here to put Armed Wing on board. Again, that's an Armed Wing, and again, I'll apologise for the glare here. Gonna Storm now, just trying to hold the Blackwing player off a few more turns in case they draw something like a Sirocco. Double Search would be massive for them. We've seen the other Colute in hand, so we're not going to go to battle phase. I'm just going to set 2 and pass it over. Bringing Whirlwind back into play now. And summons out the Gale. There's the DDV. So this is going to be absolutely huge here. So we know there's Colute in hand, obviously 2 on field. Going to stop the Whirlwind resolving, and that's also Blizzard in hand. Yeah, Blackwing's passing back there. You can't really do much under DDV when all you're drawing is the little birds. I'm going to go for Rota here, grab Greffa. We've already seen the Vayu in hand, I've got to pitch. And the Blackwing player scoops it up, yeah. I just don't think they want to play it out. Understandable. There's not anything they can really top deck to get them out of that situation. So going into game 3 now. Doesn't seem like they open a monster, so just setting 2 and passing. Using a lure now to try and dig for a Heavy Storm. You can see Gauze in hand there. I think I saw a Sirocco and some kind of trap card. I think it's a D Prison. Apologies, you don't see what I take out there. I think it's an Armageddon Knight. So Greffa summon now. Probably going to be pitching that Sirocco in hand. Dumping the Vayu. Yeah, so you can see Cyber Dragon as well in hand there. So going to try and get in for 17 now, and that's successful. Saying I assume the D prison and passing over. Blackwings again drawing one of the two whirlwinds here. This time with the Sirocco, which is absolutely huge here. We don't get to see what he takes there. I'm assuming it's probably a Shura, but D Prison is going to get rid of the Sirocco. That feels quite good. I think my opponent's playing 2 copies of Vayu, so it feels like getting a Sirocco out of there is definitely a good exchange. Also, as a Vayu turbo player, you can't really be leaving a Sirocco face up when you want to be putting out armed wings. So that's a Rota for a Greffa there, and again, I will apologise about the glare. Greffa comes down now, pitches a Sirocco from my hand. Gonna dump a second Vayu now. There's definitely a play I have here where it's just double armed wing for game, but those 2 back rows really have me thinking that one of them is probably something decent like TT or Mirror Force, and I really don't want to play into those right now with the way my hand's set up. Passing over after doing some damage now. Opponent bringing out Shura using Whirlwind. And the Gale was taken there. Gale going to be used to half one of the Greffas. And now my opponent's just declared battle phase. So they're going in with the Gale first into the halved Greffa. We're just calculating life there. Yu-Gi-Oh players and math and all that. Sure, going in now over the full Greffa. I'm bringing out Vayu here. Opponent just thinking now about what he wants to summon off of Shura. I remember the sequence of the game quite well, because there's a couple of comments we should make. So it brings out the Vayu. Opponent just asking there if he can change it to attack, which is fine, it's locals. So getting him with 800. And as you can imagine, we're immediately going to punish that. With the gauze that we've seen since turn 1. So that token is 800 now. The opponent makes an interesting play here as well. I'm not sure it's entirely correct, but I think the option here you've got to get rid of the gauze is to go into Armor Master and then into Dark End, and having the Vayu and then the Armor Master in Graveyard obviously puts you on a Silverwind play next turn, or whatever you want really. I don't think my opponent sees that because they go into Catasta here first. And then choose to go into Dark End. I think the Dark End's correct. I don't think you can leave the gauze up. I just think the route they took was a little off, because they're now missing a 2700, 2800, whatever Silverwind is beta, which they could have had effectively for free. They're also losing Catastro access to the graveyard, so any blizzards that could bring back a Kalute now won't have as many targets. That Dark End has used its effect once now, so it's at 21. Activating Vayu now. I'm going to eat a Bottomless. We do have another one loaded. Just thinking of what to do here. That token is ironically turning off Cyber Dragon right now. So yeah, going with the second Vayu activation, getting the Armed Wing out. Switching to attack mode here, which is the ultimate greedy play. But I have got my opponent quite low, so I'm really just trying to apply as much pressure as possible. Armed Wing, gonna eat the D Prison. I think I saw his Mirror Force in my mind. So that token's now left out in attack mode, only 800 at the minute. Setting one and passing over. Dark End there, taking out the Set Raikou. Taking itself down to 1600. Yeah, going for Blizzard. Bringing back the Shura here. Armed Wing coming out now. Yeah, the Silverwind play we talked about before wouldn't have given game here, but it would have put me out of Braincom range. So it's interesting to see how little missteps in previous turns can change the kind of dynamic of the game later on. So Cyber Dragon finally coming down now, trying to go over the Dark End. That's a Mirror Force. We're going to set one. But unfortunately, that one doesn't do anything. Yeah, my opponent going to get in for game here. So Blackwings takes this locals. Really good player, really consistent with his plays. Couple of missteps, but good event overall.